talk to the CEO of Rancherino.
Hello there! Tom's name dropping on the other end of this microphone. He says, I talked to a CEO once. Tell us about that one, Tom.
No, I didn't realize how close we were to stream. Even though you were like, hey, we're getting ready to stream. I was like, oh, let me fit in this one other comment real quick about the adventures of Tom.
I do want to hear about those adventures.
And here we are.
Because I got things on my schedule that I need to actually put on a calendar somewhere so I don't forget. But it's all in May. It'll be fine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We just had a recent calendar conversation, so you know where I stand there, Tom. Welcome to Delvin in Deep, episode 18, where we build a giant D&D world that eventually we're going to play in. Brought to you by me. And just me. And also this other guy who is named.
He doesn't do much. Who the fuck is this guy?
He's not giving his name, so I don't know who he is.
I don't know either.
Oh, I guess it's just me then. All right. Send all your questions, comments, and big paychecks to me at Casey's address.
At Casey's address.gmail.com.
And your sponsorship deals, because I read those like an apprentice. Not an expert. Don't let me. How's that? Do I got like shirt and hat coming yet?
Thank you. Yes. 100%.
I just hope that they're really quick at shipping out these things, because I still don't have my Maturino gear from my last giant donation.
Is that true?
That is true, but not your concern. Mine.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is
all right.
Today? Okay.
We were talking business, but they're not here for business, Tom. They're here for chit chat. You do business and chit chat at the same time, because that's what we're doing. Did I tell you about Ed Greenwood?
No, you didn't, Casey. Please inform me on Ed Greenwood. Is he active on Twitter?
He's active on Twitter, and thanks to a close personal friend of mine, Aldi Sander, pointed me to Ed Greenwood and said you should check out his Twitter. I didn't know he was so active on Twitter. The guy is posting like 14-part tweets where he's talking about world building. It's awesome. And I took a shot in the dark after listening to a podcast. I heard occasionally writers will help name your characters. So I've asked Ed Greenwood to name one of my characters, and he responded back asking me for more details. I gave him said details, that the character is a half-elf paladin at the age of 25. I have a character who currently his name is Charles. And Charles is about to get renamed into whatever Ed Greenwood renames him into. Because I'm restarting that character. I'm doing some good D&D stuff this Friday. Trying out a West Marches campaign a friend has been talking about for ages, and I'm not sure why I haven't dove into it before. But all that aside, Ed Greenwood is going to name my character. Ed Greenwood, the creator of Faerun and the Forgotten Realms and Elminster and all of those fantastic things. Is it? Make sure I'm saying that right. Make sure I'm not confusing wizards.
Oh man, those nerds! I sense them getting angry.
It is. It's Elminster. Night. Forgotten Realms campaign setting. Yeah, written by Ed Greenwood. Woohoo! What's that?
Sent you the Christmas present. Like in the beginning of April.
You want me to show it to you?
No, the address is what I'm looking.
Oh, you're looking for my address. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Hollywood Boulevard, number 1. That's where you can find me. But realistically, though, don't send me things there.
Way too much.
What do you mean we talk way too much?
I'm still scrolling up. And it's just like...
There's no amount of talking that we could have possibly done that I would categorize as too much. I'd say we talk too little. Because Tom's a busy man. And now...
Yeah, hopefully that should be done shortly.
Busyness?
Yeah, because my desk, it's still upside down.
Right.
For those of you who tuned in last week, that's the same place it was. And I'm getting a new piece on Tuesday. So that means next Wednesday, hopefully, it is not upside down.
You know, that if things work out right, the flow of Tom gets things done. He has priorities. But that desk, not a priority. Because his current desk still holds his computer in position.
Yes.
If his desk fell apart right now, I guarantee you the new desk would be up in an hour.
It's what's okay. I went too. Wait, did I go too far?
All right, we're prioritizing work. But funny enough, Uncommon and Tom have worked really hard, and we have definitely prepared things for this episode. No, we did. I prepared thoughts. I prepared lots of thoughts, but I wanted to give you all the experience of following along with the creation process, which is the whole point of this episode. Not explaining what I've done off scene. Now that being said, this is probably the first time we've tried to create game content live for the amount of time that we're going to do it. And we'll know after this episode if that works well at all. So
Casey,
yeah.
If you were to put on a shirt,
yes,
what size would that shirt be?
Large.
It's completely hypothetical. Okay.
It would be a large. That's the safe bet. When I'm like light, when I'm at my bottom weight, a medium fits well. But at the moment,
So
a medium would choke me, like right around the neck and the boobs.
So for those of you who like a little bit of a puzzle and a challenge when it comes to doxing Uncommon, his apartment number is odd. Go find him.
Good try. I guarantee you, I move around so frequently. You would get like 18 different addresses. In the last 16 years, 16 years, I've lived in at least 17 places. And I have at least 3 countries. 3 countries? Yes, 3 countries. All across 3 countries and as many states. Not as many states, more than as many states, because to say as many states would mean to imply 3 states, and at least 8 states, maybe more. I'm not giving you guys the list. It'll make it easier to dox me. But if you do dox me, send me a D&D book. I would thank you. Saltmarsh. I don't own Saltmarsh. Actually, I don't own a lot of the physical books. I own a lot of them digitally. So just shot in the dark. Anything you want to send me? 3rd ed, 4th ed.
You want to know something that's really sad?
What's up?
And Salt made me think of it. Is so when baby ostriches hatch, right? They come out of their nest and they're far away from water that they need to drink because they're a living organism.
Right.
And so they need to run through this it's not like a mud land, but it's like mushy.
Okay.
And
mushy land. Baby ostrich. I got the picture.
Yep. But it's mushy because of salt water.
Okay.
And I wasn't paying full attention, but this little baby ostrich was running and running and running, and the salt started to dry on his legs.
Okay.
And so then his legs just got thicker and thicker and thicker with layers of salt as he was running, and he couldn't go on anymore, and then he fell down and died.
Tom? You have a noisemaker, and it wasn't quite loud enough, so I'll play...
Oh, no.
I'll play this one.
He keeps
Kicking me in the dick. Why? Why?
Does he keep
Look,
kicking me in the dick?
at least the next creature to eat that baby bird has a seasoned breakfast. Because it's salted chicken legs.
Right, and that's so I was sad yesterday, so you guys get to be sad now.
The circle of life. You're a bastard. Hey, Nana, welcome.
Circle. What do you mean? What's up in common? I'm here too.
I'm sorry. You've been muted this whole time. No one hears you. That's what we're doing, Nano. And what's up is we're building a Dungeons and Dragons world with Dungeons and Dragons people, and adventures, and all kinds of fun things. And of course, as is necessary in all good streams, we actually don't start working for 15 minutes. We're just chit-chatting. We're talking about ostriches and their horrific death. Or if you need to talk about horrific deaths, think about any animal that produces babies in quantities of dozens. I can count. I think sea turtles right? That's pretty sad. You think about sea turtle babies that a lot of them don't make it, but that's why they have so many. But what's worse than that? Have you ever seen a spider hatch babies?
Yeah, that's hundreds of thousands, and I want them all dead.
Yeah, no, every single one of them. I can't stomp fast enough. It's
So
like,
you see those like videos of Australia, and they like poke the mommy spider with the broom, and it has like egg sacs on it, and then like the spiders just like they kill the one spider, and spiders go everywhere. Yeah, that's
nothing newborn should be able to move that quickly.
right.
Rodents, bugs, obviously rodents. Which rodents?
Bugs.
Rodents have like a litter of like 4 to 8, right? We're not talking dozens, but we are talking a lot. Dogs, puppies. Okay, so I am into RPGs. I am what you might say, a guy who's into RPGs. Stars Without Numbers. So I have heard of Stars Without Numbers. A lot of people have said very big things about that. But if you had to describe it in a sentence, I mean, I got the impression that it was sci-fi, simplified sci-fi. Simplified sci-fi?
Simplified sci-fi.
Personally, Nano, is that an invite? Because that feels like an invite, Nano. You can't say these things without implying invites.
See, it's now you're gonna have to find a way to pedal out of that one, Nano. Good luck. Casey's latched on like that hunter spider that you tried to kill with a broom, but you missed.
Hunter spider. Send me the details, man. If you actually are opening up invites, I would love to try new things. I'm historically Dungeons and Dragons, and usually only one system at a time because it's easiest to keep track that way. I was 3.5 when it was the main system. I was 4.0. And now I'm 5th edition. Every time I try to go back to like 3.5 or 4th ed, it's not that there's big differences. It's that there's small differences that drive me nuts. I can't figure like, oh, hey, tax of opportunity. Nope, that's not how they work in this edition.
Yeah, and now you try to grapple him. Roll every dice you own.
I don't even need to be a permanent part. Like, if you just want to open me up for a couple sessions so I can figure out the system and hang out with you guys, that would also be cool. Shift into online. Oh, no, man, don't take your game online just for me. Don't do that. Table games are so much fun. Yeah, send me what you got. Absolutely. Links are okay in the stream.
Jenny from the block.
Still Jenny from the block. So
I'm just being so supportive and helpful this stream.
I mean, you're sending me merchandise to wear on stream. So that's cool. We're getting I'm not getting sponsors. The Pizza Pie is getting sponsors. He made a sector. So I'm going to go and pull this up on stream. Let's take a look. So this looks like space sectors.
2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes? Okay. And when I'm done...
Nano has 2 minutes.
Until when?
Until 15 minutes is up and we kick him out of the chat.
Oh, it'll be brutal. Okay. Planet.
Thick atmosphere, breathable,
Bad.
with a pressure mask.
Canate. You should... Oh, are you clicking the link or are you watching my stream?
I am clicking the link. I'm an independent stream.
I believe you.
Shazam.
I have no reason to doubt you. So this system is called Fat. This planet is called Bad.
It's
Wait a minute.
It's pronounced fought and bod.
I mean, in all the systems, in Infinite Systems, there's got to be a system out there called Fat. I like it. I like simplistic systems. My favorite characters in any D&D game are like the Elven Rangers and the Halfling Rogues, the human fighters, the simple stuff.
Those are my least favorite.
Those are your least favorite. My least favorite are the absurd ones, like the Water Ganassi and the Turtle Cleric.
How dare you? I will walk out of the stream right now. But
there's more. Okay, so let's look at system. Okay.
Far.
I want to look at Planet Bad.
There is a riser system.
Oh man, where's it at?
Does that one disappear from your universe after a while?
It's just got
To go on to a
invisible
better universe?
invisible units. They're dark. Oh, there it is. Riser system. It's got
Invisible system.
the invisible system. Simi, breathable mix. It's a warm planet. It's human. Fewer than 1 million inhabitants. Tech level 4. It's got a gas mine and a space station.
Did you just skip over that? It has a tech level of 4?
Do all these have tech levels of 4 plus? That's good. I didn't even think about that. It's got a tech level of 4. No, I mean these look like game numbers. These look like game. Maybe it's tech 4. Maybe there are invisible systems that my players can discover. Oh shit! Are these the black ones? No, they got another black ones. So you're saying there's these systems that aren't connected by lines, or you're saying the black systems, or systems with. I mean that's cool. But you have a
Tech
map
level
out.
4 is like future stuff. Yeah, he's pretty futuristic.
I mean, he's got a Saab 900. Have you seen that thing? That's pretty hot. Overview. You have. Oh, that's really cool. You can look at all the planets. Now, how much of this is typed and how much of this is randomly generated? Because I'm a fan of random generation. Tom has all of this stuff, but for our fantasy world.
It's pretty much all randomly generated.
But pretty much all randomly generated. And so I'll show you what we have. Can't show it without messing stuff up. That's fine. Below Thos is something you can discover. So let's look at. Nope, not home. Let's look at Thos. I saw Thos, but let me find it again. Do. So this is world building right here, guys. And this is the thing. There we go. It's below. Okay, so
is that world or is it worlds building? Because those all look like worlds.
They do all look like worlds. Here, and as a review for all the people at home, here's what we did. If I go to our map section, our locations, and the map of Zazap, which is a fantastic name.
It's nothing to do with pizza.
It definitely didn't originate from pizza.
It's all pizza based.
So this is our randomly generated world.
With a few modifications.
I mean, a modification. So he randomly generates a world. He does it a couple times until he gets a landmass that he likes. And then he begins to modify things like borders. So they follow natural lines of drift, natural formations, mountains, rivers. And then we insert names. It's like a spreadsheet, right? You go in, you change kind of the names. And if you drill down far enough, which this won't zoom any farther. I thought this zoomed indefinitely. Let's make this picture bigger.
I don't know if that section might have taken all of the cities off.
Well, I see the cities. It's just not readable because it's not high enough resolution.
Oh, okay.
If you have a mega high resolution one to replace here, that would help. Because every single one of these lines is another city. And on the spreadsheet the app we use, I don't have access. He produces all this stuff for OneNote. Each of these cities has population counts, statistics, stats.
It gets gross real quick.
It does. It is a like Dwarf Fortress, but on a map, a fantasy map. So all the background stuff is there.
I'm on a
now,
map.
The idea behind this campaign is that I'm the DM, and I am your standard storytelling fantasy DM. Tom hates fun and loves spreadsheets, and we found a way to take those two concepts and morph them together. You like that? So what we're gonna do is double DM, where I'm going to run the game, and all the background information, the world will be evolving. It'll be living and breathing. Consequences will have effects that will be not static, or not that they won't be necessarily dynamic or static. They will change, but they'll change because of their actions for meaningful reasons. And that's his job, is to focus on the details. So when I'm like let's say something simple like, how many arrows did this person fire? Say the player's not tracking it, or this merchant has a trade route that's been affected by a party failure? What's the cascading effect of this? And I still owe you a podcast. God damn. Let me find this.
Oh yeah, I had that thought. I was like, oh, Uncommon never sent me that podcast, and then I went on to cleaning other stuff, and then like I'm right now, all I'm doing is cleaning a humongous house. So like the podcast is like exactly the thing that needs to exist.
A podcast? Okay. All right. I think I found it. Let me click it. I'm gonna listen to a minute of it. I can't listen to that much of it. Where is it? So this is the website. This is the episode. Stream of Annihilation. Day 1. D&D is for nerds. Is the group. Oh man, do they have? They don't have. There's no way this is on video, right? There's no way this is on video. All right, let's see. There we go. Podcast Dungeon exclusives. May. So the one I'm looking for is September 22nd. So we go back far enough. By the way, you want to look over the rules book? It's free online. I can send the link over Discord. Yeah, no, absolutely. You drop it in chat. I'll check it out in chat. You can send it over Discord. I'll have it for later. I will take all the links that you have.
All of the links in here, baby.
Too many links. Too many links. September 22nd. D&D is for nerds. Good morning, Schultz. Let's listen to a moment of this to make sure this is the right one.
Welcome to the podcast of
Drive-Thru
Annihilation.
RPG.
I'm
Cool.
Greg Tito, host of Dragon Talk, the official Dungeons & Dragons podcast.
All right,
To celebrate
so
the wide launch this week of the latest Dungeons & Dragons
Episode
storyline,
website.
Tomb of
I need to
Annihilation,
be able to
we worked with a cross-section.
find it.
Welcome to the
kids from Karate Kid who can afford.
Only causes inflammation and shortness of breath.
The more sore your throat feels. It
Yeah,
feels raw.
yeah. This is it. This is it. Tom posting it in chat.
Have we got any magic to help a boy's throat?
Yep, gonna clear that. There's also another one I'm going to link you that is just required reading for fun. But this is the one I was telling about, like tracking things.
Required reading for fun. Okay.
And it's so good that I need you know listening to it is magical. This is a magical episode.
Damage.
Excellent.
And then
All
I
right.
get
And this so that first one is great. This first podcast I linked you guys is great for difficult encounters and travel. Travel is very important, and this is the first example of travel I'm going to adhere to. The second example of travel in a campaign I'm still listening to. I want to figure out how Chris Perkins does it. The second one is if you ever have a party of tabaxis, or just what the second one is okay. So for the podcast of Annihilation, the Tomb of Annihilation came out, and D&D sponsored a bunch of popular podcasters to run games in the Tomb of Annihilation. They made up their own things, and they ran some pretty fantastic games. The first one is great for survival. It's brilliant. It's well executed. The second one is they took all the dungeon masters that they had brought in, and they took the best dungeon master from them, and they made that one the dungeon master, and they made the rest of them players. And they had this one shot where they were all tabaxi thieves. And the voices alone and the interactions alone of these people who are so used to, entertain, like the dungeon master in these things. I mean, they're just great. They're entertainers. They're voice actors. They run stories online that are popular to tens of thousands of people. And then they all get together as goofy cat burglars. Cat burglars. But the first one's just survival, almost survival horror if you're a player. But very cool. When Tom, you listen to those, you let me know. And let's keep in mind now that we're 24 minutes.
I know. See, so this is what Casey was talking about of like seeing where, preparing on the fly, how that would go. The truth is, you don't need to.
My brother is super into D&D. Sounds like you guys are like a good brother pair. My brother, we didn't get along. Like at all. Probably my fault. Probably his fault. He was the whiny younger brother, and I was the one who beat him up. So, probably his fault. He should have been beat upable. That being said, I take credit for one moment in his life. I remember when he got into a fight on the way home from school, and this kid went to hit him right in the stomach. My brother had abs. Not necessarily for me hitting him in the stomach a bunch, but that was my go-to move. Like, brother makes you angry, right in the gut, and he falls over, and he's upset and hurt. I guess this kid his age hit him in the stomach, and he winced, and he was waiting for the pain, and it didn't come because, his brother's 2.5 years older than him, and there's no way. Anyway, he was like, what, that's it? And it was over. You know what, telling the story way off topic. I beat up my little brother. I was a bad older brother. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, D&D. D&D. So, we're doing Sirens Call.
Beyond.
It's D&D. We're doing this first chapter. This is the first session, and we've taken a couple weeks of planning to get here. And we're doing all this in OneNote. And I will check out that Orson Space D&D thing. That looks like a
it's
really
some resources for D&D.
In space,
which we already have, the Kobold Fight Club.
Kobold Fight Club's good. Basic rules, encounter generator. Yeah, no, some of these are really good. So anyway, what I was saying is, this is it. This is our OneNote, and what you can get out of watching this is the ability to contribute to our adventure. Because as we type this, your ideas usually get input in here. I don't think we've turned down an idea. We may have morphed your ideas into something not goofy and off the wall and something serious, but this is what we're doing. The scene opens up. Oh, wait, spoiler tag. There's a spoiler tag.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. If you're in my player base, just mute the stream and, minimize it. Don't minimize it. Just drag it off your screen so the viewer count doesn't dip. Whatever. Whatever you're comfortable with on your moral gray area. Spoiler alert. But no Game of Thrones spoilers. You have seen that episode, right, Tom?
Yeah, I have now seen the episode.
All right. There's just no way we can spoil those things. There definitely was no nudity. And people don't love milk, which was my favorite part. Absolute favorite part of the episode was the milk. I'm replaying that scene in my head. And this is the thing I struggle with, Nano, is people who don't watch Game of Thrones. Intuitively, I want to scream at them and tell them they're wrong. But I only started watching last November, so I can understand what it feels like to be like, what's the big deal? No big deal. It's just a show that's popular. No, man, this is so good. It's so good. It's world-shattering TV. There may not be a better TV show out there. I say that, and I know people are going to disagree with me vehemently. But, maybe not all of them. It's great. It's a fantastic show. Don't at me. Fantasy. Sci-fi is great. The Star Wars that I love in my head is great. All right. So, this whole scene starts off with Tiffany's Diner. Tiffany's Diner is a bagel and pumpernickel bread shop that's popular in the mornings. And we're not starting at a tavern. We're starting at this diner. And we're going to give players...
It's different.
I don't want to watch things in general. That's fair. I can't emphasize enough how much you'll thank me if you instead sit through 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. I cannot emphasize enough how much you thank me. I also have a book recommendation, but it's still fantasy. I offer to buy the book from people if they hate it. It's so good. All right, so, God damn it. I'm having such a hard time staying on topic, Tom. This is your fault.
It's all my fault.
It's all your fault.
We just now need to go double the time since we've doubled the off-topicness.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Tiffany's Diner. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Perfect. We have a lot of bad movie references. And that is exactly where the name Tiffany's Diner came from. So they're going to start here, and the idea being...
Go anywhere.
They can go anywhere. But mostly the door's locked, so they can't go anywhere at all. And as soon as they figure out the door's locked, they're going to realize that there's a fire. That there is somebody catching Tiffany's Diner on fire. And we have some read aloud text. We have some descriptions. We have some things that they can interact with or look around at, in case they ask. If they don't ask, or they ask about something else, then that's when we bring this up on the spot, right? Good dungeon masters can... I'm losing my lexicon, my vocabulary. What is it like? Bring things up on the spot.
Whose
line is it anyway?
Now you've ruined
improv.
No, it's up to Nano.
It's improv. The good DMs can improv. Good DMs don't necessarily need a vocabulary, but they do need to improv. So, we've set the scene. There's a fire. But why? What's going on? How do we get out of this burning building? Well, I mean, there's probably a couple ways, but they'll have to figure that out. It's D&D. It's D&D. D&D Beyond. It's D&D. Okay, that's a great song, and if you haven't watched it, I can't keep recommending things that are the best thing in the world. I'm going to stop here. Critical Role's good, but to call it the best thing in the world would detract from my Game of Thrones recommendation. You punch the door. Right, so if you punch the door, we do a strength check, and we do that against the lock. And if you roll probably somewhere in the rounds of a 15, you break it. If not, try again, but the smoke's getting thicker. People are panicking. People are trying to shove you out of the way to get to the door. It's getting harder to punch, so we can work with that. We can deal with the natural evolution of the scene. And once they resolve the Tiffany's Diner problem, we have the mayor's office. You got a nat 20 on that strength check, then you bust down the door, and everybody gets to leave safely as the rest of Tiffany's Diner continues to burn. And let's say you stand there and you watch it burn. What next? That's tough, actually, and that's a good point, because the next scene relies on the mayor summoning you for help. So we can say that even if they don't do anything significant in the mayor's office, they still busted down the door and saved a few people. They still stood out as adventurers. So they get brought into the mayor's office. The mayor's plain. The mayor was previously the guard captain. He's very straight to business. Plump halfling. Puts on weight, different kinds of stress. He goes somewhere else to eat the breakfast. That's fine. There are places to eat breakfast. You find your way over to a lovely...
It's not a big town. There might not be.
Well, roll, Tom. Roll me... Is there... Actually, Tom, is there another place for breakfast? This is how we do this. Is there other breakfast places?
I mean, there's probably, but it's not as good,
I mean, Dino's wouldn't be open yet. The taverns aren't open. But there might be like an egg shop. They serve eggs.
Egg shop. I just like... Hi, what's on your menu? Eggs. And more eggs.
and let's say they continue to do this. We would have to continue to prompt them with opportunities to be heroic. Right? So you maintain that flexibility. You want to tell a story, but you got to get them there. A shop that sells only eggs. You dig it, I dig it, but maybe they're not very good eggs. Maybe they're a shop that only sells eggs, but they're really shitty at cooking eggs.
You have to roll to see if you get sick or not.
You do. Constitution saving throw, please. But what we'd have to do is the scene we have in mind here is that there are smugglers trying to cause chaos and distraction so they can do something illegal. Now, for the most part, the mayor has allowed illegal activity to happen, let the smugglers do their thing to keep a relative peace. And there's kind of this agreement between the mayor and these smugglers that they don't cause too much trouble. He turns away and doesn't look. But this level of trouble worries the mayor. But this agreement is also tentative. So he's going to try to find somebody who, on his behalf, can investigate. I guess not on his behalf. Like, we don't want them. The mayor doesn't want them to say, "The mayor sent me."
Right.
So
just figure out what's going on, and then also happen to say what's going on in my direction.
Essentially. So as chaos happens, the hope is the players eventually find their way to the mayor's office. Ideally, the first time they do anything heroic, they get a summons, be it a guard or a letter. If they continue to do nothing heroic, then we have to go pretty open world with this thing, because I always like to do that. I always like to present a pretty good, obvious adventure, and then like, fuck it, you guys are just going to go camping for 3 weeks in the mountains, and we'll roll.
Absolutely.
And we'll roll
Which
encounters.
is where, we would have, the background things that I would be working on would facilitate a reasonable plot point to jump on.
And that's good, because we've also done a lot of world building up to this point. If I go to our previous episodes, you can see we have relationship charts between the races. I think between the gods. We have quests and drama happening on other islands on a greater scale that we'll have to eventually dig down into. We have major plot points and elements. Essentially, things are happening. So because we've done our homework of 17 other episodes of background building, the idea is hopefully we can fall back on the rest of it to give an interesting and evolving world, and then immediately after that session, scrub all our notes and do what we're doing right now, which is trying to be very specific. So where we left off is the mayor's office. He gives them the mission, and the idea being an agreement that as long as he turns a blind eye, the Smugglers Guild will limit the violence of crime. He's not sure the Smugglers Guild did it, but he's got a suspicion, and he needs some proof. And some things for them to inspect, I keep here. If they don't inspect them or they inspect something different, I'll have to respond to it. But these are nice predetermined things for me to look at. So I need to go back to the beginning. Oh, where'd it go? Did we lose? Oh, it's going to be on a previous episode. There was a chart we made on the outline. There it is. The chapters and what's going on. So I'm going to steal that. I'm going to bring that over here. And this was kind of our layout for how we're going to do this. We've kind of based all this off the 5-room dungeon. Entrance with a guardian, a puzzle, a role-playing challenge, a trick or a setback, a big climax, and a cliffhanger. Right now, we've got 2 things we've covered. The entrance and the puzzle. And we started working on the trick or the setback, which is the... we had a very complex... Am I missing? I feel like I'm missing flowcharts. No, here it is. I found it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely more.
It's in the Siren's Call.
Oh,
so,
right. That we broke it off into its subcategory.
Yep. So I'm using this tab for general summaries. I'm using locations for the actual gameplay. Locations will be typically what I'm staring at. So let's move all of this, I guess, over to Siren's Call so I can reference it. Oh, zoom in, zoom out. There we go. First chapter. We have all this like flowchart stuff we've mapped out, we've talked about in previous episodes.
And we could use electronic, flowcharts with nicely drawn lines, but where's the fun in that?
It doesn't.
Nowhere.
Look, this artwork, thank you so much. It's a style, it gets to the point, and it's you know what it is. I'm a Pictionary master. All right. So after the mayor's office, they get to the Smugglers Guild. And this is where we're left off. So they're going to probably wander around town looking for clues, investigations, talking to people. And this is my opportunity to do some role play, some townspeople voices, and maybe eventually lead them to the Smugglers Guild. Now, that's where? Is it a tavern? Is it in the docks? Is it the back door of Dino's Bar and Grill? Where in this town of Gillicoy do we put this thing, Tom?
You would think that it, quote unquote, has to be in the town?
It doesn't. It just has to be a location. Smugglers Guild in the town, though, makes more sense. because
Okay.
it's just accessible to the guild.
I mean, Dino's would probably make the most sense for out of everything that we have, but I don't know if we want to not ruin, but like.
I like Dino's outside the Smuggler's Guild because it's its own adventure that I don't want to tie morals to.
Right. So I mean, there's a billion things that we could do that doesn't have to be tied up in something we already have.
Okay. So a new building.
Yeah.
They find a warehouse.
Oh wait, didn't we say something like by the shipping docks, or like didn't we bring that up?
Smugglers Den. Yeah, there it is on the docks. Surprise smuggler. Okay. So it's a warehouse on the docks.
Yep. Perfect.
So read aloud text would be as they approach this guild, as they approach this building, you come to a large warehouse in the docks. As described to you, it's and we'll go ahead and put that in italics just in case that it's not described to them. It's a large, it's a plain wooden, it's a plain and square wooden building with large.
You can't trust squares,
doors.
man.
Well, I mean, hey, you don't need fashion. It doesn't got to look good. It's got to have a function. Plain and square wooden building with large doors on either side. The windows are all blacked out or boarded up. Blacked out or boarded up. This is, by the way, is how I apparently type and talk at the same time. Hot.
I mean, yeah, or like, like boxes pushed in front of them, like.
Upon closer inspection. So, upon closer inspection of the windows, they are either covered with boxes or dark curtains. It's difficult to ascertain which. Good. The doors themselves are locked with large. The doors themselves are guarded by mercenaries, by smugglers. We're gonna need some character blocks, stat blocks before long, but I could tie those in later. So as they're looking at it, and this is the description we're giving them, and the text below it is obviously what I just need to know to refresh myself, and if they look at it. So you come to a large warehouse with docks. As described to you, it is a plain, square wooden building with large doors on either side. The windows are blocked out and boarded up. Let's see. We'll go ahead and go with a perception check, right? So we'll go bold, passive, perception of 14. You notice that several humanoid figures, humans are kind of loitering about close to the doors. And we're going to say something like an insights check. Insight 13 or 12, if they notice them. Insight of 12. They seem to be attempting to discreetly guard the door. So we give them some imagery. We're not getting too descriptive.
Wait, what?
Was that?
No, I was just saying, wait, what? They're discreetly guarding
They're discreetly guarding the door. And what we've done here is very important, is we've not given so much detail that they can't... We've given just enough detail so they're creating a mental image. If I were to describe to you, you come across a spooky or creepy graveyard with iron fence surrounding the perimeter, you get enough of a mental image. I don't have to break down the number of gravestones. I might want to talk about the fog, but not necessarily its density and height above the ground. So what I've described here is a warehouse in the docks. It's a plain, square wooden building with large doors on either side. You all have a mental image right now. of what that looks like. And we go with that, and we give them some more stuff to feed off of. And I'm gonna take a look at this. Can I paste this farther down with perception checks? I mean, I can, but I wanna get this whole block. So let's try this. It's just kind of formatting things now. There we go. Passive perception, insight. Now I can take these out. Now this is the outside. But now we have to talk about the inside or getting into it. So these, in the plain text, something for me to know is these guards are guarding. These people are guarding the door. These people are guarding the door. What are the outcomes that we discussed? We've talked about this before. This is a conversation. Now, if this is the if then tree, the branches, the choices here. So we'll go with bold. If the players asked around too much, italicized, then the guards. Oh, right. Oh man. Oh, it's an ambush. Then the guards are going to attempt to ambush the players upon arrival and inspection of the door. Increase the perception check to 18. Now, one thing you can do is when you get into these games is roll the stealth check for the guards right there. Or you could roll them now while you're planning it. Or you can make up a reasonable number. Any of these things work.
You make up the reasonable number before they roll.
Before they roll.
Because you're not a dirty cheater.
Well, I mean, even if you are a dirty cheater, don't let your players know. Give them the sense of accomplishment. You know that for the most part, when a dungeon master is making up things, they're ballparking around 15. Like, this is moderately difficult. It's about a 15. And then you lean left or right, 13 to 17, depending on how much you want them to actually figure it out. Like, if you've got this thing you want them to see because it advances the story, that check's going to be lower than a 15. But if you want to reward them for it and make it hard, you know you're edging towards a 17. And even if you're edging towards a 17, the player's like, I got a 16. You're probably giving it to them anyway. But if you write it down right here, you give yourself real opportunities to evolve the story out of your control. I'm going to write 18 if ambush up here.
And that's the most exciting part.
I mean, for me it is.
Because everything's more exciting when the DM has no idea what's going to happen.
That's fair. I'm going to go ahead and lower the insight check if it's an ambush up top as well. That gives us some of this flexibility. All right. Which is, by the way, why I love rolls on Roll20, because players die. Because you're not hiding rolls, players will die. It's a whole other world when the DM rolls in front of you. Absolutely. So there's a couple outcomes here. And the best way for me to do this is kind of describe it in a short couple sentences. I don't need to map out this whole thing. I just need to be able to recall my intentions behind this scene beforehand. So if it's an ambush, the guards are only in attack mode. The guards will attack on sight, no matter what. Will attack on sight. No conversation. The other option in here was the party. So now it's a conversation. If it's not that, it's a conversation. So if it's not an ambush, it's a conversation. All right, so now it's a conversation. There are a couple of ways this conversation goes. Looking over here, I had quid pro quo. I had trap and I had fight. So we're going to go with quid pro quo is they will ask you to find a jewel.
A fancy tree.
And then they will give you an audience with the boss. A fancy Jew. I put fancy down there. If the situation is attack, that means the PCs, the conversation didn't go peacefully. They fight and treat the warehouse like a dungeon. The other one is imprisoned. If the party, if the, actually both of these are if the conversation doesn't go well. So we'll go and write that conversation doesn't go well, and then we can tab those other things in, and we can call it if the party wins. That not good conversation. And if the party loses, they are knocked unconscious and taken to the jail cells. I don't want to get too many details when I'm having this many branch paths, but I want to be able to understand it. And the last option, ambush, quid pro quo, fight, jail. Okay, so there we go. If they win the ambush, that's the same thing as a conversation not going well. If it's not an ambush, yeah, I can work with that. I know there's some weird trees going on here, because if it's an ambush and they lose, it's the same thing. If the party wins, the party loses.
I mean, yeah, it does. I think, we don't need to, who knows? Maybe they can't get, enough information because one of the guys they need to talk is dead. But
So I'm gonna go with if it's not an ambush, it's a conversation, quid pro quo, conversation, well, or it's an ambush. Yeah, we're fine. We got some things to work on. Interactables here. I don't have any particularly. Unless at this level, this is level 1. I'm not worried about I'm not worried about them getting into this building magically right away. But we will now need to build the rest of this warehouse. So we need a dungeon.
dun, 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 dun.
Smugglers Guild dungeon.
That's how every character says it in the town.
Dungeon.
It takes forever. They get stabbed 3 times before they say the end of the name.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go online real quick and look up, I'm going to type something, D&D warehouse map.
D&D Beyond.
There's D&D. Look at that, a warehouse map. And it's probably subject to copyright. Thanks, Pinterest. There we go. We have a warehouse dungeon. We have a couple doors. Some are up high, some are down low. We have some barrels. Nothing else is going to be... There's a little room right here in the center. So we need ourselves a description. Let me go ahead and tab this over because this is all part of the same thing. We're going to insert this into a table. This is a one-line table. This is how you do what I'm doing. And you shade it in a slightly different color. And we just kind of describe this room. And this is where, for the most part, I think we don't use Roll20. I'm thinking it's just cameras and a nice background. And then for fight scenes, I bring in the tokens. I bring in Roll20.
Okay.
I'm even okay if players roll at their desks, which I'm leaning towards heavily in just a fashion to keep Roll20 out of this. What are your thoughts? You like that?
I mean, yeah, it's the one thing that takes away is that if you're not on top of the stream, you can't glance back and check and see what's going on.
Yeah.
But then again, Critical Role doesn't have that problem, but also Critical Role has other things going for it.
I don't have that
Like-
problem either because you can't not pay attention as a dungeon master.
Well, no, I'm saying like viewers. You know, like the things that we eventually hope to have.
Oh, come on now, Tom. Don't you being so negative. There are literally ones of people watching this. Not even tens. Ones of people. I think it's you and Brandy.
Heyo.
It's D&D. D&D Beyond. All right, I'm even going to give this a little bit of red. Just a light red lettering so it sticks out for me. Maybe a bolding, slightly bigger lettering, a heading, small heading. There we go.
There you go. Those are a thing.
They are a thing. So now we describe this. Before you stands a large warehouse. The stone floor is asymmetrically tiled. Stone floor is smooth and worn down. It's worn down from the, moving and storage of crates. These crates fill the warehouse in front of you, leaving wide paths for movement and traversing. Well, for traversing. It was for traversing. A wooden shack.
It's my favorite kind of shack.
I mean, looks wooden to me.
Besides maybe like Caddyshack.
I like a good Caddyshack, especially the Gopher. Small wooden shack acts as an office on the far side. Light from the windows on an upper balcony light up the room. Maybe. They could be here in the dark. But a small wooden shack acts as an office from the far side. Light from the windows on the upper balcony brighten up the room. Light up the room is fine. We can use light twice in a sentence. And then we give them...
How dare you?
This map. What am I doing?
You do use light twice in a sentence?
Yep.
Blasphemy.
Oh, man.
And sneezing?
And sneezing. All right. There are some warehouse workers in this thing, but they're also thugs. Right? I mean, so we got to have a challenge in here. So we're going to have about 6 thugs are currently moving around the warehouse.
And how
Moving
many players do we have again?
6.
Okay.
Currently moving around the warehouse, shifting boxes, or lounging about. The smuggler's leader. We needed a name. We needed a name for a leader. Anybody? Anybody who happens to be sitting in chat might want to give a name. That's cool. Paul. Look at that. Paul. All right. Paul Rudd. Paul Rod.
Paul
Rod.
Paul Rod.
Let's go ahead and give ourselves an NPC section, by the way. Rename NPCs. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a template. So what we're doing here is we're creating a foundation to call back to Paul Rudd, because he's maybe important enough.
Yeah. Who knows if they don't get rid of him? Maybe he slowly gets stronger. A plethora of options are available.
Copy link to page. Go back to locations. Highlight Paul Rudd and paste ourselves. Wait, it didn't quite work. Copy link to page. Paste. Paul Rudd. Smuggler's leader Paul Rudd is sitting in the shack reviewing.
Is it like a
his
love
accounts.
shack?
You know, maybe love happens in there. Maybe there's some romance. But I really assume this was an office. And in my mind, Paul Rudd he's not no nonsense.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. He's not no nonsense. He's just ugly. And so, if he can't have love in there, nobody can. Paul Rudd. My name is Paul Rudd. And you're in my shack. And I don't know why you're in my shack. I wasn't done talking yet. Why are you in my shack?
I like how he says he's not done talking and then just repeats what he said.
I'm writing that down. Paul Rudd. And this is, what do you say? And this is my shack. Oh, God, I don't even know what I just said.
And then, what if only we were recording this? I wasn't done talking yet. What are you doing in my shack?
I thought there was something else between I'm Paul Rudd and this is my shack, but maybe I just had it nice and slow. We're gonna italicize that and put that in a color. We're just gonna remind myself, and that's a personality check for me. This is the character of Paul Rudd. Personality marker. I'll call that a personality marker. It lets me know that this is his tone, this is his character. I need to give this some good dark coloring. All right. Now, the goal here is Paul is, oh gosh, it's still green. Go back to black. Paul is after a jewel. This jewel is currently in the home of a upper
Mayor.
noble. Oh no, not the mayor. Someone rich. No. I'm thinking a rich person. In the home of, you know what? We could do this easily. Is in the home of Mr. Dino. Mr. Dino of Dino.
Okay.
Currently in the home of Mr. Dino Barrow, Mr. Barrow, the owner of Dino's Bar and Grill. It was a treasure they recovered after the latest expedition to San Luis's territory.
Okay.
I need to San Luis's region, and is rumored to be both valuable and functional. Other word for magic.
Like a nice hat.
Like a nice hat. It protects you from the sun and is worth good money. Let's see. Rumored is functional. Paul's and just for Paul's motivation is to use the jewel to open up greater trade routes and relationships with a town I need a territory that's up into the north. I think it's
up into the north of where we're putting Jellicoy. There's not much up there other than San Luis. There is the island that is the last hope, but I don't know if there's really anything of note there. Okay. If we flip over to the other continent, you could get to Ektum.
I'm going to say we pull back on what I was starting with, because you're right. I thought it was Ektum for some reason. But I mean, that's a pretty long way for a small town and a smuggler.
Yeah,
merchant.
I mean, we could also have them, where we set Jellicoy. Just keep on pronouncing it differently.
Yeah.
Um,
With another
you know-
smuggler's den in Krolom.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm thinking he's using this jewel. It's going to be a gift.
Right, it could be maybe to sort of team up, make themselves bigger with
Rich House relationships with neighboring.
Or we talked about having families, wealthier families. Maybe he knows that there's a wealthy family that wants this gem,
Right.
and then he can maybe collect some favor.
Now, we're going to leave it with neighboring organizations right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be towns, nobles, other smugglers' guilds. I'm going to say that Paul hasn't thought it through entirely. Because he's ruining his thing here with the mayor by doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we need to do is work with the Interactables. Because I can work this entire thing. We have 6 thugs to deal with. We have Paul. Is this violent? Is it not violent? How do they get the information? If they just kill everybody here and collect no information, then they have no information. But they have solved the smuggler problem, I guess. Until the people who
So the
weren't at work
mayor's
today.
happy.
Well, we'll see. Maybe the thugs. And these are consequences I don't want to get too deep into because these are things I think we discuss after session and the next day. All right. So, crates. So there's stuff in crates. What kind of stuff are smugglers smuggling in a dock city that has imports from other regions?
What are they smuggling?
What do people want? What can they sell? It's not jewels and paintings necessarily, but what is it that people in this town really want? I got it. What is pumpernickel bread made out of?
Pumpernickel seeds? I don't know.
Bread, rye, flour, cornmeal, salt, yeast, cocoa, and brown sugar. Add milk, oil, and molasses. They are importing or smuggling brown sugar.
Okay.
Unless you see brown sugar and
Either that or salt,
Coca.
but no, they would probably I would say either brown sugar or coca.
maybe both.
Yep. Why not both?
Brown sugar and cocoa. Okay, so the crates are filled with brown sugar with large quantities of brown sugar, large quantities of spices.
And everything
are
else.
brown. Yeah, right. If identified, and we're gonna make that a nature check, history check, taste check. If identified, it is brown sugar and coca. These spices are native to Santalis. And where would coca come from? I'm thinking, looking at the map, Santalis is brown sugar, or coca. Santalis would be coca?
I mean, we don't really. I mean, Loros also has a lot of farming. I mean, coca is definitely more jungle, which Santalis, I guess, is.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna go with Loros. Loros and Santalis's region, respectively. I think we've got something there. Yeah. And this, by the way, is what you do when you start world building from the bottom take note, DC Comics. Can't skip this shit. What else you end up with? Batman versus Superman. And this is all like history check, right? So like history 16. Where'd they get them? Brown sugar, if identified, and that's going to be what would brown sugar and coke identification be? Let's go with a wisdom. Herbalism.
Got that herb.
So wisdom.
That herb.
Herbalist kits. So straight wisdom if they have an herbalist kit. And wisdom will be low. And both of these are low, but it's going to be, 10. Mm-hmm. Do you know what brown sugar and coca is? Cool. I like that. I like that we have a check. We have some information. We have potential for, a storyline that may not be immediately important, but it's world build. What we're doing is we're handing them world building if they find it a little bit at a time.
And then we're also handing us building, so then we can know things to sort of spiderweb out from, and to sort of plant hooks and then come back to it if necessary, and then slowly build this never-ending web of awesomeness. And then pretty soon, Casey, in like 10 years, we're going to get DMs on Twitter, and people are going to be asking us to name their character that follows in Neptune's footsteps.
Samuel Tarley. Shit, taken. Thomas Bouch. Wait, no, that's my dad. Hard to tell. All right. Wow. Okay, so this took so long. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to do some of this off stream, because
That's like being an adult and having homework.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So what we'll do next stream is we'll review this, and we'll have to plan out the next region. So I'll map between now and next week. I guess I will map out the rest of this, probably, and we'll talk about it, and then we're going to do our outline for the next session. Now we can't get too many sessions ahead of ourselves because you never know what they're going to do, and you don't want to develop 1 year's worth of content and they derail in the first one.
Right.
Already, the amount of time we're spending on each of these is already more than typical.
Typical for Casey, not Matt Mercer, the only true D&D.
That's right, master.
Hero.
He's the only true dungeon master. Emphasis on master. That's not true. There are lots of great ones, and you know what, Tom?
Yes, that's
me too.
My name.
Hashtag. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ended on a good note.
I am uncommon.
And I'm...
And we're both uncommonly happy to see you today. And we'll see you next time. Same time, Wednesday, 6 p.m. I stream just about every day at that same time. We're kind of in this wind-down mode before the summer, so you're going to see me playing a lot of different games, trying out some D&D and different videos, games, and you guys have been fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, dance it off with some flutes.